All right, so we're in the northern parts of Sweden. It's the beginning of January, and as you can probably already tell, it's winter out here. So we can't practice and we can't play outside. Fortunately, we have the indoor settings where I'm at right now, and I'm going to show you how I can use deWiz together with TrackMan, together with the indoor simulators to help you improve your game. Let's get going. All right, so I've gone from the winter outside indoors to help me improve my golf game in one of the TrackMan simulators here at Östersund Indoor Golf. And I got the deWiz on, I got the app ready to go, and I'm going to show you just how I like to use it with the TrackMan simulators and the TrackMan numbers, and how the numbers from deWiz and knowing your numbers in deWiz translates to the numbers in TrackMan, and that is very powerful stuff right there. So you've already seen me work a little bit with my length of backswing, and I just want to start out by showing you just exactly how that carries over to the TrackMan data, but also how that would carry over to the actual shots out on the golf course. So I got my 60-degree wedge right here, and what we're going to work on a little bit right now is the length of backswing measurements. If you haven't seen the length of backswing video, I do recommend you to watch that before you go ahead watching this. And I got a few things set up right here. I want to focus right now on club speed and the carry distance. So I'm going to hit for you 3 different positions with my wedges, the 3 different positions that I've practiced through time and time again, learned, and through that I can use TrackMan to help me know what number I'm hitting into the deWiz. Through that, see through TrackMan how long that ball is going to carry and what kind of club spin I'm creating with the wedge in my hand. So let's get started. So the first wedge I'm going to be hitting for you is my 9 o'clock wedge. That is when I'm trying to swing at about 94 to 95 centimeters in the length of the backswing. And with TrackMan, it tends to carry around 35 meters. So let's see if I can do that today. I got a 60-degree wedge in my hand, so that's a 35-meter carry. Hit a bit fat. 92. So 92, about 34.6 meters, that's good. So that's my first distance. I got another 2, as we probably remember. I got my 11 o'clock swing, which is about 114 centimeters. I'm not quite as sure exactly how far that carries. Let's see if I can hit about 114 centimeters. $112. Hit it a bit out on the toe, so it carried a little bit further. I'd guess that it's probably carrying around 50 meters when I hit it really well. But as you can see, there's a bit of a higher club speed. The carry goes up, and let's see what happens with my full 60-degree wedge right here. It just tends to be around 124 centimeters. $127, so a bit further. And as you can see, club speed goes up, carry number goes up. And through this, through practicing with the feedback from deWiz, along with the data from TrackMan, I can really help improve my short game, as you can tell already. But what if I want to hit it further with another club? Let's get the driver out and see what we can do there. All right, so what I want to start with is just hitting a driver for you with my just stock shot. Usually my club speed is somewhere around 108 to 110. Carry distance varies widely depending on the strike. And my length of backswing is somewhere around 145 centimeters with just my stock shot, something I'm using quite a lot when playing outdoors and indoors as well.
Length of backswing 145 centimeters.
There we go, 145, just shy of 108. So around that number is where I'm used to hitting my driver. Nothing special. I'm not trying to kill it. I'm not trying to bomb it down the fairway. That's just my stock shot with the driver. So let's see if I can increase the length of backswing and see what happens with the club speed numbers right here.
154.
154, around the same club head speed. All right, so let's just see if I can max the length of backswing to 170 and see what that does to the club speed.
173.
173, and there we go, 116.6 club speed. And actually the best drive so far. So maybe I should max it out a little bit more often. But there we can see the numbers from deWiz, and how they work together with the numbers from TrackMan to tell you, show you what I'm talking about. Another part I love using from deWiz with the TrackMan is the transition data. The transition data from deWiz with the club path number from TrackMan is really powerful stuff to help you hit the ball straighter and with more control. So let's change up the clubs, let's change up the deWiz and see what I'm talking about. See, before we start, a quick reminder. When it comes to the transition, we've got 3 different options. We can transition on plane, which means that we transition down on the same plane that we swing the club back. I can transition under the plane, which means that I'm moving my hands, my deWiz unit behind me in transition, and I can transition over the top, which means that I'm transitioning with the hands and deWiz unit moving away from me in the transition, just to make sure that you got that all covered before we start looking at the club path number right here. So perhaps this is one of the most common questions I've gotten about deWiz during the last couple of weeks. How does deWiz data compare to TrackMan? And the first thing here I think we need to understand is the fact that deWiz and TrackMan measures different things. They're great at doing what they're supposed to do, but they're not measuring the same thing. So the club path number is something that TrackMan measures or traces through the impact position right here, about a decimeter before the ball, through the ball, and well, when you're hitting the ball. Those few thousandths of a second is where TrackMan goes in and gives you its data. But deWiz, when it comes to transition number, measures your swing at the top and during the transition. So it's 2 different things. They measure it completely different. However, they do affect one another, or rather one, especially the deWiz number, does affect the club path number from TrackMan, and I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about right here. I teach a lot of amateurs, I teach a lot of weekend warriors out there, and a lot of what I'm seeing when they come for a lesson is the over-the-top move, something that would look in deWiz something like this.
Transition, plus 5 centimeters.
So we got plus 5 centimeters from deWiz, which means that I'm moving my hands about 5 centimeters over the top in the transition. And what we can see in the TrackMan data is a club path that goes a lot to the left. And actually I saved that shot quite nicely, so it came back, but we can see a club path being a lot from out to in, moving to the left, kind of creating that pull slice or pull fade kind of shot. So I'm seeing a lot of that. But with better players, I'm also seeing the opposite, a player getting stuck behind them, transitioning way too much on the inside, which means that they're going to swing a lot out to the right and kind of create that chance for the duck hook or just a huge hook to the left. And that would look something like this.
-5.
So that's -5. As you can see, the club path kind of follows that. Actually, I hit that one quite well, but if I release that a bit too much, that's going to be in the woods to the left straight away. So I can see those kind of problems out there, but also I can transition quite on plane, or pretty much on plane, and usually that helps me to square up that club path as well.
-3.
So being on plane is one of the hardest things for me because I tend to be one of those players who transition a little bit too much under the top and need too much from the inside. So I'm actually working quite a bit with deWiz and TrackMan right now in order to get that club path number under control. This is a good story for me right here. But what I want to show you, I want to talk about when it comes to deWiz and TrackMan right here is that the transition and club path are very closely related, which means that if you're transitioning +5 or 6 or 7 or 10, you're most likely not going to see a negative club path, or rather, you're most likely not going to hit it from the inside. I've seen players can be about 1, 2, or 3 centimeters over the top and still hit it a little bit from the inside. But usually, the more you're over the top, the more certain you can be that you're hitting it from the outside and creating that little bit of a pull move. Just as you can put it the other way around, if you're transitioning 5 or 6 centimeters under the top, you're gonna hit it a lot more from the inside than you would if you transition more on plane. From my experience working with deWiz, we can't really say that if you transition 3 centimeters under the plane, you're gonna hit it 3 degrees from the inside. However, we can generalize in that amount that we can say that if you're transitioning more from the over the top move, you're gonna tend to hit it more from the outside. If you're more under the top, you're gonna tend to hit it more from the inside, which pretty much means that if you wanna work on your club path, transition is the number you want to get control over. So if you want to see a club puff like mine, a little bit from the inside. You don't want to see a transition number like this in the whiz.
+3.
Because that's going to make it a lot harder. Even though +3 is still kind of close to neutral, it's going to make it a lot harder to come from the inside consistently with that kind of move. So what I would do is to help a player like this is get them in the practice and learn mode, start using the transition part and try to get them to step by step move that transition from being over the top to more under the top or more neutral to help them reach the club path number that they want to see. And that is just exactly why the numbers from the whiz is so powerful, and knowing your numbers is really going to help you become a better golfer out there. Using the whiz when you're practicing indoor can really help you improve your game that much faster. And what I've actually seen, even though I can use the TrackMan numbers to help me understand the data and see what kind of data I'm getting, still, it's very important for me to get the feedback that I need in order to understand how and why the numbers from TrackMan are the way they are, and that's where the whiz is so powerful. I can use the transition number to help me work on that club path number that is so important to hit those straighter shots. For instance, when working with your length of backswing with your wedges and learning what kind of carry distance you're creating with that through the TrackMan system, also very, very powerful. Definitely going to help you shoot lower score when you get out there during the summer months. If it's winter, we're practicing indoor. And I love practicing indoor, but in order to make that work even better, I'm using the whiz together with the simulators I'm using in order to improve my and my students' game as fast as possible to help you shoot better scores out there during the winter, during the summer. I don't care. I want to see better results, and the whiz is really going to help us with that. Thank you very much for watching. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you out there.